Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 956. Tonight, going to talk about a bunch of tips disabling CoPilot, and not just uninstalling it, because that doesn't get rid of it. And I had a couple clients this week that they begged me, please, Mike, please get rid of it out of Microsoft Word. And it's actually very easy. So I'm going to show you. OneDrive and Excel tips. A listener email, and I have a question, but to throw out there for everybody, could use some help, of course. I always enjoy sharing problems from the show. And I want to talk about Instant House Call. If you are looking to transfer and change from your current remote access provider, this is your time. Instant House Call, an incredible deal. Go to MikeNation.net or MikeTechShow.com. It'll bring you to the same spot. The orange link, you click on that, and you will get 90% off when you follow the instructions here. It's just $47 for your first year, and you get all of the features, everything that you want. Customers can start sessions without calling you first. Sessions analytics. There's no pins or codes for clients. You have the auto PC repair, which we never talk about, and that's incredible. Go down to the link where it has the order page and sign up. Kick the tires and test it out. This is what you want. This is the way to go. All right. I have a question, and let me bring this up for everybody. Let me get my show notes here. Okay. We have a conference room, and we have a VoIP system, and they need to be able to meet there using Teams and Zoom. And there's a TV with a PC. We have a camera connected to it. But logging in and then also being able to make the appointment and then using a phone number that they bring to the table, especially when it comes to Teams, what is everybody doing? I could really use some suggestions for the most frugal way of handling the license, where if you have like multiple engineers in a company that uses the conference room for meeting, and I need the best way to make this happen with a conference room phone where they're going to be like one part of a multi-user meeting. So it sounds pretty standard, but we've been banging our heads on this, on which, for, how we should be approaching this, and especially from a licensing standpoint. So just one user, if he makes, here's the problem, it's the phone number. And how do you bring that phone number to Teams? So I know where the problem is. So if someone can help me with, maybe there's a trick or something where we can maybe use the conference room phone number that in the meeting and mute the meeting of microphone and use the conference phone. How do we broadcast 4 or 5 people around the table to a conference that has 4 or 5 people up in the conference? So would appreciate help. Email me, MikeTechShow@gmail.com. So let's do Word right now, and I'm going to bring Word up, and I'm going to show you how to do this, how to disable. One of the first things when you're in Word, and these are the links for tonight, in Word, to disable CoPilot, you can go and uninstall it from the apps, but that doesn't get rid of it. If you go File, in Word and take a look, go to Options, and then in Options, there is CoPilot. It's enabled. Microsoft just threw it upon us and enabled it, and it really messes formatting up. It's a problem, and a couple clients complained this week, and I was like, hey, just a little Googling and you'll find it. I was like, okay, it's just a checkbox, and then you just click OK, and that gets rid of it. And the same for Excel. So all you have to do is go Options, CoPilot, and disable, and just uncheck the enable. So wanted to talk about that. Users with OneDrive, and we're finding a couple issues. One, and with Windows 11, if you have a business, what they call work and school, Microsoft 365, OneDrive, and you have a personal, and we have users that want both, and you can do that. And that's what this link is for, how to add an account in OneDrive. And it's very simple, and you just go to the settings, select OneDrive, and the cloud icon, which is right down here, and pop it up, and you see when it's white, it reads OneDrive Personal. If you have the business, it'll be a blue cloud, and you can just add the account. But we have been running into a problem with the personal after you have a work, and we've tried even reversing it, assigning them out, unlinking it, and then fixing it with a because we get duplicate personals, and so we had to find an answer when you get duplicate OneDrives in File Explorer. And this has been happening multiple times. And what we have to do, and this link will, take you through it. And if you scroll down, you will see the registry. What you need to do is follow the HK local user. Then you got to go software, Microsoft. Then you need to navigate to OneDrive, and you'll see multiple entries, and there'll be one that's blank, and you have to delete it. Then restart your computer, and you'll only have one. This works. We've done it on a couple people. And what you might want to do here is export before you do this and explore current version. Here's desktop namespace. You know what? There's another entry for actually, this is it. Desktop and the namespace. I'm thinking of another one for Office, which I'm going to talk about next, which is an Excel problem. So take a look at this link, follow this. It works. And I watched my son do it on a couple computers. Next one, how to reset Excel settings. Had a client that I don't know how he did it, but every time he opens up Excel, it is crazy settings, and he can't view any of the cells. It is a mess. And I'm like, whoa, man, how do I undo this? And you know what? Back to the registry. Here we go. Regedit, HKey, current user, software, and then you find, depending on your Excel version, expand either of these options. Excel 27, which is Excel 2007, which is 12, 13, which is 15, and then 16 and later is 16. And so this is the one that we found. And then go to Excel and just right click and delete it. Delete the Excel key, and you don't even have to reboot. You just launch Excel, bang, all the settings, everything is fine. So that was easy. I was glad I found it. I had tried doing an office repair, and that didn't, trying to go through where did he mess up the settings and trying to reset it. It was going to take too long. And so that's why it was much easier to just delete the key. So that is just a great tip that I wanted to cover. Let's see. Oh, here's something, and I'm just throwing this out there in between everything else. If you update a graphic on a website, or if someone updates it, I noticed Firefox does not update because of the cache. Now, you could delete all the cache, and that'll certainly help. But if you want to refresh a page, like if you're not sure you're seeing the latest, greatest, and I've had this happen in Firefox a couple times, hit Control F5, and all the graphics will refresh on that page, and you'll get the right graphic. And I got to thank Corey from Instant House Call on that, because when I was setting up the page and I had the graphic for his special offer, even though I updated it on the website, I updated it in the HTML code, it wasn't updating. I go to Chrome, I see the right one, so I know I'm doing it. And Corey was laughing and said, Mike, if you're in Firefox, hit Control F5. Bang, and that took care of it. So, all right. I just wanted to go over how to do that. Let's see. What are we? Oh, something that I think I mentioned this once before. As we're moving people from, users from Windows 10 to Windows 11, and they're getting new hardware, and we're setting it up, and they have Exchange. Well, you don't use Control Panel anymore, because you need to be prompted with the Microsoft login prompt in order to properly sync it to Microsoft hosted Exchange. Now, if you're using somebody else, you can still go into Control Panel. Like my SureWeb clients, I can do that. But if you have an Exchange, you want to just click the Outlook icon, and then when it comes up, before you pick the profile, you could always just pick New Profile, and now pick Exchange, and you'll get the proper prompts. If you key everything in Control Panel, which is always the way I would do it, it doesn't happen anymore, at least not for Outlook Classic. So it's, and my son yesterday was doing somebody where he, Exchange, he was able to, no problem, but he had problem with Gmail, even doing it through Control Panel. So it's almost like, Control Panel you don't use anymore for a lot of the email setup. And I would live in that. I was a master of that. So now, I guess it's easier, but I wanted to throw that out there. Don't get frustrated if you're not connecting properly, where it's just not authenticating the right way. Let's all right. I was just looking at a text I just got. Let's keep going. And now I have a stack of email. So good stuff. And let's first, this is from Andrew. Hi, Mike. Love your show. I heard on your last show about how you haven't found a good free substitute for Acrobat Pro. I had been looking for the same, but found a good one last year. PDFGear, and it's literally pdfgear.com. I'll have it in the show notes. And I'm not sure if it has the features you require, but it does editing, page ad remove, forms, and more. It let me ditch Acrobat Pro. And I have found that a lot of these substitute programs, yeah, they're good, but they don't do 100% of everything. And some of the things that I need to do, which is grouping multiple emails into a PDF for clients. For a matter of fact, I use it right now for the show, where I'm seeing all these emails, and each one is an individual PDF, but grouped into one big PDF, and I do that in like a couple clicks. All right. Another good one is part of the free OnlyOffice suite. So kill a couple birds with one stone here, which is a fantastic replacement for Microsoft Office, which I like their UI better than LibreOffice, in my humble opinion. And this is onlyoffice.com/desktop.aspx. So onlyoffice.com. This is from Andy. Andy, thank you so much. And those links will, of course, be in the show notes. Now, when I mentioned about tech aggregators last week and was concentrating on websites, I got 2 emails here. And the first one is from Puppo and Tech. And he said, Mike, I just use good old-fashioned RSS. And yes, RSS, it's not as popular as it used to be. Yeah, I used to use RSS feeds all the time years ago, but I have not done that. So it's not as popular as it used to be, but there are still plenty of services and clients. I personally use a self-hosted fresh RSS instant, but there are many options. Some popular cross-platform ones are Feedley and InnoReader. Here is a post with a few more options and tricks for when you can't find a site's feed. And I, who is Puppo and Tech, thank you so much. And his link will be in the show notes. Now, on this topic and a few others, I like this. This is from Kate. I got a long email here that I'm going to read. Now, if you know my little ding on the keyboard, and where I find mostly women who put things on the keyboard, she, of course, I knew, Kate, when I said that, I knew I'd be getting an email from you. One, it's not always women. It just isn't. That was one. 2, regarding the listener, with the double period at the end of every sentence and command, I think Taz is on the right track about the keyboard. If it turns out not to be a mechanical problem with the keyboard, that is, a new keyboard acts the same, the next thing to check is the settings for the keyboard, especially if the listener is not in the United States. This is very good. And Kate's in Canada. Here in Canada, the default keyboard Windows chooses is the Canadian Multilingual Standard Keyboard, which allows users to type in English and French reasonably easy. If you can type in both languages, that is, I rarely type in French, so I set my default keyboard to US QWERTY, and then to keep from accidentally switching back to CMS, I remove that keyboard entirely. I can't tell you how many customers I helped by doing this for them. My keyboard isn't typing right, calls multiple times a month, like your pencil customers. I had those too, except some of them were men. I have yet to have that from a man. Anyway, I have to do that, say that. To change the settings. Windows 11 makes it stupid hard. Here's the click path. Settings, time and language, language and region, find the language, click on the ellipse, choose language options. From there, you could see what keyboard is active and keyboards, delete keyboards, set the default keyboard. When you have more than one keyboard installed, you can switch between them using the Win key plus spacebar shortcut. That's why I think your listener might need to remove unwanted keyboards or disable that shortcut, because it does involve the spacebar. Most of the customers I fixed this for were using laptops, where it's easy to hit keys you don't mean to. Yes, especially for some reason, the space bar. The other way to accidentally change the keyboard is to click on an icon in the system tray over there on the right side. People would swear to me that they hadn't done it, but honestly, this doesn't really change itself. There's a way to turn that off too, but it's easier to delete the keyboard you don't need. That's awesome. And she has the actual pictures for how to do this, but you replay this slowly, go through those settings, you'll be fine. If you do need the pictures for that, because this is an issue specifically for you, I will gladly email you those screenshots. 3, I organize the flow of information about things I want to read or skim by using a good old-fashioned RSS reader. I use Feedley and of course Feedley I'm going to have in the show notes, because it will sync cross-platform. So I can look at my laptop, Pixel phone, or Samsung tablet, and it remembers where I left off. I can organize the feeds by topic, and how they display is customizable. I use the free version, but the paid version offers a robust set of features which many will find helpful, but which, thank God, I no longer need. It runs in my browser, on Windows, and on the phone and tablet. It's an app. More here at feedly.com. Good luck with the week ahead. Thanks for all you do. Kate, thank you so much for taking the time to address all of that. And hopefully this will help some users out there. Got this right before I was going on the air, and I want to get to it. And this is from a friend, Joe, who I've actually went to Phillies games down in Florida. He's a reverse snowbird, listener of the show, retired, graduated from Drexel, and lived in Florida. And then when I went to Florida and became a snowboard to Florida, he came back north. Anyway, Mike, how's it going? I have a question for you on behalf of my wife. She does volunteer work helping people with Medicare questions since her background is she is an RN who has worked for years in the computer software industry, specifically in companies that deal in healthcare software used by nurses in hospitals and physician offices. In her day-to-day work, she researches problems by searching out various websites and frequently needs to revisit a site. Say she was at 2 or 3 days ago, but frequently the browser history has been cleared. My question is, can a browser history in Chrome be cleared? Oh, absolutely, but only in a specific date range, or say, clear it if it's only older than 3 days. Many thanks for your help. Let me open up my Chrome. I'm not going to display it, but what I'm going to, just to keep everything, you go to settings, and then I know, see, Firefox I know a lot better than this. I think it's privacy, and that's what I'm looking at. Privacy and security. Delete browser data. You can click that. Now, let me show you the screen. When you click that, you have basic and you have advanced, and you got a time range. So you hit the little 3 dots up at the top, then you click settings, then privacy and security, then you got basic and advanced. Now, basic, you can pick last hour, 24 hours. You got 7 days and 4 weeks. So you got very specific ranges, and you can click, and delete browsing history, cookies, and other site data, cached images, and files. Then you just click delete data, done. Excuse me. In advanced, you got the same options, but now you have a few more things like site settings, hosted app data, passwords and other sign-in data, cached images and files, cookies and other site data. So you have the same as basic, and then they add a few more click delete data, and there you go. Hopefully that helps. Joe, send me an email. Let me know if you need any more help. That is it for tonight's show. I want to thank everybody for staying subscribed to the show, watching the videos on YouTube. If you haven't, spread the word. youtube.com/MichaelSmithMTS for all my videos. Even tonight's show, I'll post that up as soon as I'm done recording here. And don't forget the main website. That's where all of the show notes are. That's where the link to Instant House Call is. Everything you need is at MikeTechShow.com. That's it. See everybody next week. Have a great week, and talk to you later. Bye-bye.